Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and I brought a lady.
Hello. Here.
So I am indeed the Lord of Aberdeenshire, and my wife Warda here, she is the Laird of Aberdeenshire, which is just Scottish for the lady. Anyway, that's right. We actually bought some property, not a lot, but we bought some property over in Scotland, and I'm saying, like there's more land available, and it's the safest area of all of Great Britain. So not too shabby, not too shabby.
Aberdeenshire.
That's right. I'm finally a landowner. So anyway, what's going on there, my peeps? What's going on? How you doing?
Not much. I'm just excited, a little anxious to be here.
I was gonna say you're more anxious than excited, I think.
I got this. It's all good.
What's going on? So we're going to be talking about some movies, specifically one movie that is going to start in a couple of days. It's going to start actually filming pretty soon, and that's actually going to be the Spider-Man Part 3. It's scheduled to start shooting on the 16th of October. That's in just a couple of days in Sunnyside, Queens, in New York City. You know where that is? Whose district is that?
I don't know.
Congresswoman?
AOC.
That's AOC's district.
Ooh.
Now, you know why that's such a big deal? Because she says that is the hardest hit by COVID-19 area of all of New York also. And she's talking about New York State, which obviously New York City is going to be hit harder than the rest of, upstate, but still the hardest hit part of New York. So the idea that production is going to start there is a little bit crazy. But yeah, 14th district of New York, they're going to start.
Don't they have like a lot of lockdowns and stuff like that? Because like,
I'm not there to know.
I wonder how they're able to handle production, filming, while they're trying to do social distancing, keeping people at home and whatnot.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's going to be hard to figure out. Tom Holland's not going to be there for the beginning of it. He's actually in Germany right now, shooting for what's it called? Uncharted. It's a video game movie. I guess one of the benefits of your superhero being a guy in a mask
Yeah,
could literally be anybody under there.
yeah, they could do all that. What is it called? Treatments called it's not called extra. You know when they do
The
all the
stunt,
extra. Yeah,
yeah,
the
the
stunt
stunt
person.
work. Yep, exactly, exactly. Even though he's a hell of a stunt person himself, still. Um, Amy Pascal, of course, said that the movie is going to have home in the title, like Homecoming, Far From Home. So it's going to be one of those. Maybe it's called Homeboy. I don't know. I have no idea. But anyway, there's that. And you notice one thing special about the guest appearances in there. There's always been some kind of a mentor character for Peter. The first one it was,
Um, Tony Stark.
yes, Tony Stark as Iron Man. The second one kind of had three mentors. Mysterio was part mentor. Nick Fury, who was actually the Skrull, Talos, was part mentor. His real mentor, more than anything else, was Happy Hogan, though.
Chorus. Oh, that was sweet.
Right? Like that was really cool. Oh wow, I love Led Zeppelin. I'd never want to smack Tom Holland more in my life. That's AC/DC, damn it. But he's gonna have a mentor in this movie also.
Okay,
It's going to be Doctor Strange.
I can see that.
Yeah,
He's controlled. He's tempered.
very.
Like he could do the whole I am your older senior mentor vibe. So yeah,
Yeah, he's less emotional and more level-headed than
yeah.
probably most of the guys out there. Yeah, it's a weird one. I think I'm still waiting for Captain America to be his mentor at some point because they've of course got to fight first.
You mean Clash?
Yeah, they've actually Spider-Man and Captain America actually have to fight first. This happened in the Civil War comic book, the original Civil War comic book, decade ago, and they actually had Tony Stark had Spider-Man on his side and always led him wrong and basically said, I need you to unmask in front of everybody. The most closely guarded secret in the Marvel Universe was Peter Parker's identity. And he said, I need you to unmask to show how confident you are that superheroes, when they're registered, are safe. So he went against his better judgment and he did it, and it wound up backfiring big time, especially when he realized Tony Stark's a little loco en la cabeza. And yeah, anyway, so he went against Captain America, and they fought, and they pretty much fought to a standstill. Cap mostly winning because he's just so much better trained. And what do you call it? He talked to Spidey, and Spidey was like, "Wow, you are like just a well of information." He realized he's so different from Stark, and he's just like, "Okay, wow, so I'm seeing things differently now." And eventually, he did wind up joining the other side. He joined Captain America's side. So I'm really looking forward to them doing something to that effect. I mean, I figure that could just make for like probably the most beautiful of the Spider-Man stories ever.
In this line of stories,
Mm-hmm.
Captain America is old and essentially that, right?
No. This is Tony Stark is fighting for. If you remember the third Captain America movie, Civil War, he's fighting for registration for all the heroes to register and work for the government. Oh, in this.
Like the universe of this movie.
Okay.
Captain America too old because
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, in the MCU, he became a old man Steve Rogers. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, he's done that several times before, and then wind up, boom, goes back to being young again. It could be a totally different universe. Plus, the Doctor Strange movie coming out, it's supposed to deal with the multiverse, including the Scarlet Witch TV series coming up on Disney Plus. WandaVision, it's going to heavily deal with the multiverse. So different realities, different versions of characters coming in. In fact, this Spider-Man movie, this third one coming out, whatever the title of it is, it's going to feature a whole bunch of old, like Kirsten Dunst is going to come back as Mary Jane. Remember the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man? Yeah, she was the Mary Jane there. A whole bunch of these characters are going to be coming back, including Jamie Foxx. Remember he played Electro? He was blue in that one, and it really sucked. Anyway, he's coming back, and he's going to be a non-blue Electro. And yeah, so who knows? Like, you never know. We could get a younger version of Steve Rogers having a conversation with him. Whatever. Just.
I'm actually looking forward to a Peter Parker that is able to cut ties and grow outside of the mentor-mentee relationship. That would be interesting to see.
I think that would be good when Tom Holland starts to get too old for the role. Because one of the biggest mistakes that they make in the comic books is trying to age Peter Parker. They've realized every time they've aged him and he's like out of high school, which he is currently, but they've always wanted to get him back into high school and whatnot. That young kid discovering the world, it's something that just never really grows old. You know, him learning lessons and whatnot. Him being older now, it's one of the reasons why they wanted Miles Morales to come into this dimension, the Earth 616 dimension, the current comic book dimension, because now this is the young high school Spider-Man, and he's being mentored by the older Spider-Man once in a while.
Yeah. That was a nice story.
Yeah, they really are. Oh yeah, because you just got to finish watching again with the kids the Into the Spider-Verse DVD. Yeah, exactly. Next up, Soul from Disney Pixar. You know, they did Pixar is the ones that did Upward, Inside Out, Toy Story, you know, all of those. So the new one is going to be called Soul. This is fairly important because Jamie Foxx is going to be in there also. So this could be fun. It's going straight to Disney Plus. So very similar to Mulan, except unlike Mulan, it's not going to have that $30, fee. It's going to be right away. It's going to skip theaters and go straight to, well, possibly because they still got to make money off of this stuff. So the question is, how much money are they going to be making off of this? You know, like if it's going to help the streaming service, cool, but it's that balance that you got to keep, you know? So they did the Mulan thing where it didn't really, it helped them, obviously, but how much did it help them? Did it help them enough? And then there's the idea of what they're going to be doing with this. Let's see, so they're doing a balancing. They're trying to see what works, what doesn't work, what can work, what won't work, basically Soul, I actually have the description here. What is it that makes you, this November? And yes, this is actually coming, straight to Disney Plus on, December 25th. So this Christmas. But it was originally supposed to be November 20th in theaters. But yeah, obviously they switched that around. Anyway, feature film. Soul introduces Joe Gardner, voiced by Jamie Foxx, a middle school band teacher who gets the chance of a lifetime to play at the best jazz club in town. But one small mistake or misstep leads him to the streets of New York City to the Great Before. So not the Great Beyond, the Great Before, which is basically going to be a fantastical place where new souls get their personalities, quirks, and interests before they go to Earth. Interesting, right? So, determined to return to his real life, Joe teams up with a precocious soul. Number 22 is the name of this person, voiced by Tina Fey. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Tina Fey, but yeah, you watch a couple of things by her, who never understood the appeal of human experience. So anyway, he's got to try and teach her stuff and blurdy blur, and yeah, it sounds like it's going to be okay. We'll see. Absolutely. Oh, I actually meant to turn on these lights so that we could be seen better. Hey, we'll probably be less blurry. Are we less blurry?
I think so.
See, the things I forget. So anyway, we're only 10 minutes in, 11 minutes in. Let there be light. So also that's going to Disney Plus, also coming to streaming service, specifically HBO Max, the Green Lantern series. Did you ever watch?
Series?
It's going to be a television series, but on HBO Max. So 10 episodes, automatically granted 10 episodes. That's one of the powers of HBO Max, Warner Brothers. AT&T not too long ago just bought Warner Brothers, and everything's under AT&T's umbrella corporation. The companies keep on getting bigger by absorbing more companies and making less competition. Yeah. It's a wonderful thing, right? So, sarcasm, it's a beautiful thing. That really is a beautiful thing. Anyway, stop looking at my notes, fool. You don't know who these people are. So, it's not going to feature the biggest of the Green Lanterns. Jon Stewart is one of them. Kyle Rayner is one of them. They're not going to be in it. And also, do you know another Green Lantern? There's Hal Jordan, exactly.
That's the only one I know.
Well, because that's our youngest son's nickname. Yeah. So anyway, he's not going to be in it either. So Jordan, Stewart, and Rayner, they're going to save them for the big screen. But for the small screen, there's a fourth Green Lantern that's actually kind of a big deal. And his name is Guy Gardner, and he's going to be in it. Yes. All of these are human Green Lanterns. Also, Simon Baz, who's actually a Muslim Green Lantern, and Jessica Cruz, who's I guess white people nowadays call them Latin X. She's a Latina. She's also a Green Lantern. So is Alan Scott. He's actually the first Green Lantern. However, he was a different Green Lantern. This was back from the Golden Age when you had this Green Lantern. Instead of the color yellow being dangerous to this Green Lantern, like all the other Green Lanterns, which eventually went away, it's comic books. This guy, he had a weakness to wood. So if you took bullets and things like that and shot him at him and tried to stab him with like a knife and stuff like that, wouldn't do anything to him. But a stick, a cudgel, just boop, pop him on the head, he gets knocked unconscious. That was actually his first story specifically that happened. Oh my God. So, I wonder if anybody ever tried garlic on Alan Scott. Right? That was a weird thing they did because he was originally married for like ever. And then I think it was in the New 52 series that was about a decade ago. They turned him gay, which is just a weird way of like, let's add some diversity by changing characters as opposed to like all these new characters, all these new Green Lanterns they keep on adding. They couldn't have just made a new character and made it instead of just saying, oh, let's take this guy who he was one of the many things that defined him was his happy marriage. It's like, so now look what you just did. Yeah. It's a weird thing.
It's always weird when they change a big aspect of a character.
Yeah. So anyway, Kilowog is supposed to be in it. He's the guy who trains all of the Green Lanterns. And Sinestro. You familiar with Sinestro? Yeah. The bad guy.
What color was he?
He was yellow. That's right. He started off as he was considered the greatest of the Green Lanterns, but then he wound up becoming their greatest disappointment because they realized that his home planet, he's an alien, his home planet, what do you call it? He used to have a tyrannical rule over them, and the elders of the galaxy, the guardians of the galaxy, guardians of the universe, different universe. They were just like, oh my God, we didn't realize this. So all of a sudden they banished him, and then he went to Quard, and he got a.
It was all about order and whatnot. Right?
Exactly.
And that's why they thought he was good.
Yeah, precisely, because he just seems so good at what he did. This is all about the Green Lantern rings are all about willpower. So, and overcoming fear, not being fearless, overcoming great fear. So they're great stories there about courage, bravery, and self-control, so, I like Green Lanterns, even though they all seem to be, about the same because, they've all got a ring that lets them do similar things. The ring's power manifests itself differently according to each user. One of the cool things about Guy Gardner is that he had so much willpower. In fact, the original story of Guy Gardner was in the pages of the Green Lantern comic book with Hal Jordan, was that if the ring didn't go to Hal Jordan, it was actually going to go to this football player named Guy Gardner, who just had so much willpower, but he's also a very angry person too. Anyway, with his ring, Jeff Johns, one of the writers, situated the idea that his ring seems to leak. It seems to drip willpower because it's like, it's dying to get out. It's like a dam, a levee about to break. There's so much willpower about to come out. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
very interesting.
Yeah. The way that they design all these guys, Kyle Rayner is an artist. So they may not be the most, sound of structures, but they're the most beautiful structures you can imagine. Like there's detail and everything. John Stewart is an architect, so his are the strongest of the solid light constructs, because as an architect, he knows exactly how to balance with cross rivets and everything. And it's amazing the way that he does, everything he does. So everybody has their own ability. And Hal Jordan is he's the airline test pilot. So like the military test pilot. So he's just the guy. It's like, hey, those cool new fighter jets? When they make a prototype, guess who tests them? Well, that would be him. So he's just like about as fearless gets, and just adventurous and crazy. So anyway, they all manifest their power differently. And you're going to be able to see that in these TV series. So I'm really looking forward to that. Seth Grahame-Smith is going to be the showrunner. So he's going to be the person in charge of the shows for the most part. He's known for doing Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter and the Lego Batman movie. So crazy and yet fun, and sometimes often very funny movies is what he's known for. Well, I don't think you watched Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, but you've seen the Lego Batman movie.
I just can't remember him. Was he ever?
He was the guy. No, he's the guy who made the movie.
Oh.
Yeah, so like that when you see those two movies, that's the kind of vision that you're probably going to see. Okay. Yeah, coming up. Yeah, so that's the term showrunner. That's what that word is used for. Mark Guggenheim is going to be writing the show, the first episode at least, with him. Guggenheim has written a bunch of comic books. X-Men Gold, I think, was most recently. Excuse me. And he also did he was also the showrunner, I believe, for Arrow, the Green Arrow TV series, and Legends of Tomorrow and stuff like that. So we can also see a similar theme there. The shows worked on the CW, so there's that. Anyway, they're all going to be hour long, and apparently they're supposed to be it seems they're going to be live action instead of cartoons, which, yeah, I'm all aboard. I haven't seen confirmation from that, but everything that they're indicating about, the going into the production and blah, 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 it's like.
What kind of audience is it catered to? Kids, adults, like?
I'm not sure yet. That's a really good question, though. And I didn't even think to look into that. But, they didn't give the information. I looked up everything I could, and I didn't see anything on there. Yeah, because you see Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, and then you see Lego Batman, right? But, yeah, we'll see. Hopefully it's going to be fairly good. DC, especially as of late, no, not as of late. DC has usually been a lot more adult-oriented until Shazam came out. Like kind of Aquaman 2, but mostly Shazam.
Yeah.
All the other movies just way too dark.
I don't remember the other Batman TV series, but it's not called Batman. It's Batman when he's young, but it's mostly about crime. You watched it. You liked it.
I did?
Yes. The actor that does the cop. I'm gonna ruin everything. The actor that does the cop. What's the cop's name in Batman?
Oh, Commissioner Gordon.
It's the actor from OC. I told you.
Oh, you're talking about the TV series Gotham. It's called Gotham. It's all right.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I only watched the first season. I think I maybe watched the second season too. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just remember you watching something. Like, it was nice, but it wasn't something that...
Your mom loved that show.
My mom loves that show.
Yeah.
Which is like, she doesn't do superheroes at all.
But she loved that.
But that one is not a superhero show. According to her, it's like a crime show.
Oh, it is?
It's just like what she likes.
Yeah. Yeah, she loved that show. But yeah, way too adult for the kids, so...
She actually didn't believe it when I told her it's a Batman show.
Yeah.
I was like, that kid is Batman.
He's going to grow up to be Batman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine your mom. No way. So, House of the Dragon is going to be coming to HBO Max also. You know what that is?
I can see the note.
You can read my handwriting? Wow. Yeah, so the Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon, is going to be coming. That's going to be, they're actually right now casting all of the Targaryens. So that's, Daenerys Targaryen, the mother of dragons, breaker chains, your favorite character. I bought you the toy. You're in love with it. I got you the earrings and the necklace. Right?
So it's their story.
It's going to be, her ancestors' story.
Okay.
So, actually seeing all that coming. So scheduled for a 2022 premiere on HBO Max. They're doing all the casting now. And if they're doing the casting, that means that they're almost ready to go into production. So they've actually got a bunch of sets built and whatnot, or at least props for the
How do
sets.
you feel about it?
I can't remember if it's the same people who are doing this, but you didn't watch season 6, the final season yet.
Isn't that season 7 the last season?
I think it's 6. But whatever it is, you didn't watch the final season. So you don't know like the anger and the angst and the outrage and the death threats.
Like,
I wish you'd just let me spoil the damn thing for you. Unbelievable.
Eventually, I will watch it. I invested like how many years in that show, but they messed it up.
We were watching that. It had started before we left for Saudi, but we weren't watching it. But then when we went to Saudi after that first year, you stayed for the you stayed there for the summer. I went back home to hang out with the kids, and I picked up the DVD, the first season DVD, and it was like a month or two before the second season was supposed to drop. And we watched that first season, I think twice, right?
It's really good.
Yeah.
It was an amazing story. I loved the King of the North or whatever. Like, I forget the names.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Stark.
Stark, yes.
Yep. House Stark and all that good stuff, man. So anyway, we'll see. I don't know.
I know that my girl is evil. So that's all I know, and that's all I need to know.
Whatever. So New Mutants was, I believe, the first. Stop looking at my notes. Look someplace else. Look at me and Stanley up there. So New Mutants is the first movie to really hit the theaters since the whole COVID thing. That's basically like the young X-Men characters. In fact, these characters up here came from the New Mutants.
Okay.
Yep, like Sunspot there specifically, the guy in red and blue with the black face.
Hold on. Those two guys over there, are they the same character?
No. This guy actually appeared in, he only appeared in 2 comic books while he was alive. Giant Size X-Men number 1 and then Uncanny X-Men number 94. That's Thunderbird. And his nephew, or little brother, I think it's actually his little brother over there, Warpath. He lived a lot longer and he wound up getting, his powers developed a lot more and he wound up getting huge. So that's what, Thunderbird could have eventually become if he would have lived, we imagine. But anyway, bang. And, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Just by the look of them. Anyway, so
Mutants.
New Mutants, yeah, this TV show came to the movie theaters and apparently wasn't that good. Um, yeah, it didn't get the greatest reception, but still, it is what it is. Anyway, so it's going to be coming to DVD as soon as November 17th, so literally a month from now. You know what I'm saying? 5 weeks max.
They're not putting it out on any of the streaming services, or no?
I'm sure it will eventually come to like Disney streaming. I guarantee it's going to be there because it's this and the X-Men Dark Phoenix, I think it was called. I still didn't see it. It's actually on Disney Plus right now, and I haven't watched it because I just don't care. It's gotten so many bad reviews. Those two are the final two movies, for the most part, that Fox Studios produced before they were purchased by Disney. So they had to be put out because it's already done, and a lot of that money's coming to them because, hey, and it was also important because in case the deal didn't go through, then they would at least still have, they can't just stop, making movies. And it's like, oh no, the merger wasn't allowed to happen because of monopoly laws. So, oh my God, people were actually genuinely worried about that. And they should have been. I was worried about it too. I was kind of hoping the merger wouldn't happen. I just want them to get I wanted Disney to get their properties back, but I didn't want them to, Disney to actually own another studio. It's like I'm done with the lack of competition nowadays, But and
Fish eating small fish eating small fish.
exactly. Pretty soon there's only the big fish and everybody who serves the larger fish. So anyways, it's coming to DVD on November 17th, and it's going to be cast as the Ultimate Collector's Edition. So we're already seeing stills of stuff coming out. We've seen what the character Warlock was going to look like if they would have added him. Where they're going to have special features on there, a lot of deleted scenes. So yeah, that should be kind of interesting. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get it or not. I'll probably just wait until it comes out on Disney Plus, and if it's any good, because I'll watch that. And if it's any good, like the slightest bit good, I'll probably get the DVD because it's going to be on Blu-ray, DVD, the Ultra, whatever that stuff is called. So all those different things. So pretty much everything here is just, aside from the Spider-Man movie, everything's just TV series or movies or whatever coming to streaming immediately. And because most movies are actually moving backwards, like the Batman movie with Robert Pattinson, they got delayed twice, most recently because he caught COVID. He's well now. Moving back like 2 years from what it was supposed to do. All these movies are being bounced back for an entire year. Everything else that's streaming is coming out sooner, with the exception of the Disney Plus stuff. For some reason, Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision, all these things, they keep on getting delayed. You know what I'm saying? But one movie that's actually moving forward, taking Black Adam's old place actually, is The Matrix Part 4.
Okay.
So, how'd you feel about the Matrix movies?
I love the Matrix movies.
How come you never want to rewatch them with me?
I watched them like many times, including the commentary and all that. But it's out of my system for like another 5 years.
Meanwhile, you'll watch Star Trek a million times.
Yeah, it's not out of my system.
We're hashing this out right now in front of everybody.
Matrix Part 4, I don't know how I feel about it because I feel like the story kind of wrapped up in a good place, so I don't know if they're gonna mess it up.
Yeah, because they kind of killed all the main characters.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
well, like it's a very dystopic world, so
Yeah.
it was like, hey.
Well, it was done by the Wachowski brothers. Nowadays, we just call them the Wachowski siblings because I forget what her name was before she transitioned, but now it's Lana Wachowski. She is going to be doing this movie by herself, not with her brother. And Keanu Reeves, who died in the previous movie as Neo, and Carrie Ann Moss, Carrie Ann. She, who as Trinity died in the third movie, are going to be back somehow. And this is weird. It's kind of like a J.K. Rowling situation where You know how she goes back and she's like, well, you know, in the books, actually, I believe that such and such such. It's like, dude, we didn't read that in the book.
Yeah.
You're just making this stuff up as you go along. Don't
But
give me
also,
this stupid
it's
crap.
like, what? Easily over a decade. How long has it been?
Yeah.
The last one, like, those actors are going to be a lot older. So the continuity, like the look, what are they going to do?
Well, just like the books with the Harry Potter books. That's a decade plus old. Like, we're done. Stop giving us new information saying, well, actually, I imagined such and such and such. Like, stop reinterpreting the books. We're good.
Her Twitter tirades you're talking about, right?
Oh, nowadays she's just getting into, I think they're called TERF. She, what do you call it? She's, it's a weird thing because here, just for anybody who's not familiar, if you believe that women have equal rights, you are a classic feminist. It's as simple as that. Or if you believe that women should have equal rights. You know what I'm saying? Equal opportunities, not equal outcome. We don't have to go all Jordan Peterson on this. Like it's very Jordan Peterson compliant. If you believe that women should have equal opportunity and equal rights as men, you are a feminist, whether you believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? So I am a classic feminist. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Modern day feminism is a little weird, but even then, she still considers herself a classic feminist, which of course had the problems with,
she has an issue with
no,
gender.
well, specifically the modern day, no, classic feminism didn't include black women or women of color, which intersectional.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for. So it still had problems. Clearly still had problems. That being said, she's having the problems with trans people. So saying that trans women aren't women. It's a touchy subject. It's iffy. Anybody who's got their mind made up and thinks they have all the facts, they hear new information and they don't want to hear it, you are who you are. It is what it is. But as for the rest of us who are willing to listen to new stuff, I just look at it as it is what it is. I don't see how any of this stuff hurts J.K. Rowling. I don't see how, I don't know. It is what it is. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It doesn't. So it's like, if somebody else identifies as a woman, if a human being identifies as a woman, you're a woman. And it doesn't take away from me to, call you what you want me to call you. But J.K. Rowling, to be honest, I'm actually really disappointed in her.
I am also.
Harry Potter it's my book, right? It has been my book. And, I looked at it as
classic good guy.
Yeah. It was, an advocacy book, a book with, down with the tyrant, and she's kind of, why would she pick a fight with somebody who's already marginalized, right? When it really doesn't take away from you and your rights. So I'm disappointed.
Yeah, it is a weird thing. It's like if you're a feminist, your fight should be to go for equal rights, not to say, don't call yourself me.
Yeah, don't sit at my table.
Yeah, it's like now you're making it about exclusion. It's a very weird conversation. If you agree with her, disagree with her, it is what it is. I'm not here to start judging people. You know what I'm saying? But it's just such a weird fight to get yourself involved in. To me, I don't care if someone's transitioned or not. If someone was biological man, still considered biological man, but identifies as a woman, them asking me to call them a woman is no different to me than someone saying, excuse me, yeah, that's my name, but could you pronounce it this way? I don't see any difference at all. None. Zero. So honestly, it's such a weird fight. It's such a weird hill to want to stand on. You know what I'm saying?
Voldemort-y.
Right? Yeah. Very Voldemort-y.
Yeah.
And it seems like something he would do. Go figure. Especially for someone who had a character like Lupin, who did do changes, right?
Yeah.
And yet, just, I don't know, whatever, it is what it is.
And she was very adamant that Albus Dumbledore was gay.
Who's the... Yeah, right? But trans is bad, apparently. Who's the girl who got with Lupin? I know her name. Oh, this crushes me. This is what happens when we don't think about what we're going to say beforehand.
She's the girl with purple
Yeah. She had the purple hair and everything, and she didn't she transform into stuff also or something?
She did, yeah. She wasn't a werewolf though, was she? No, she wasn't.
No, she wasn't a werewolf, but she had the ability to transform or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, she just used to change her face and stuff like that, her hair.
Yeah. Yeah, she would always do like the shape shifting sort of thing. So she was never comfortable with her with one identity. Hello, you'd figure this is someone who's going to advocate. You know what I'm saying? Such a weird freaking
To
hill.
be honest, like, yeah, it's so easy to have written trans characters, and that's the sad thing too. A lot of I on my Facebook, a lot of trans leaders of Harry Potter who grew up with Harry Potter are just like, "Are you serious, J.K. Rowling?
Of all people.
Of all people, all these years we grew up with you,
Mm-hmm.
we grew up with your characters, and now all of a sudden, it's really disheartening."
Especially, I don't know. The only reason why all of this is coming up is because, what have you? Lana Wachowski is saying if anybody thought that the previous Matrix movies had something to do with transitioning and her process of going through transitioning, you were right. And apparently part 4 is supposed to be the culmination of all of that. Carrie Ann didn't say too much about it, but Keanu Reeves said it's a really beautiful and thoughtful story. So
I saw that. I don't understand that. That's not how I saw the movies, but that's okay.
Yeah, I didn't either, but
Yeah. For me, I just saw it as like a dystopic technology taking over the world.
I saw it as just another one of the rip-offs of Dune. But it was a good rip-off. It was a fun, enjoyable rip-off of Dune. With Dune, you remember they had the Mentats?
Yeah.
They were human computers. They had that because you weren't allowed to have thinking computers, translation AI, anymore, because of the Butlerian Jihad and the Machine Crusade. So, yeah, the war with the machines, which, hey, sounds like the Matrix to me. So, let's see. You know, there are a lot of books, moving on to the next topic, there are a lot of books that seem to be fleshing out movies as of late.
What does that mean? What do you mean by that?
So you have a movie and they think they've explained it, but everybody's going, what? And then you have a book that fleshes these things out after the fact. So what was Snoke in the latest Star Wars movies? Remember Emperor Snoke or whatever the hell his name was?
Yeah. Vaguely. Say that again.
He was what was Snoke? Snoke was this big, gigantic, like he was a very tall character with really ugly features and the golden sequenced, almost, robes. He was Kylo Ren's boss. He was always yelling at him. Yeah. Okay. What was he?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. At the end of the Rise of Skywalker, whatever that most recent one, he was actually in a clone tube. There was actually versions of him in clone tubes next to Emperor Palpatine, who was just hanging around in the clone vats for some reason. Really weird movies, right? Really weird movies. Anyway, so he was apparently a clone of, we don't know what, but he's apparently some kind of a genetically engineered clone. Some of the most recent books that are within the Star Wars universe canon, the books are explaining these things. That's really weird. Another story that in one of the books right now is that Rey Skywalker nowadays, Rey Palpatine, who doesn't want that name anymore, now she takes the name Skywalker. She, what have you, she has the ability of psychopathy, which is the ability to, my WhatsApp is going crazy. How do I get this thing to turn off? Turn my phone off. Oh, okay, good. Yeah, but now remember, you did that. Last time I didn't have any volume on that thing. Anyway, what happens? So, what did she do? She has the ability of psychopathy, which is you touch something or someone apparently, and you can tell the history of that person or object.
She did that in the movie.
Did she?
Yeah, when she touched the lightsaber. remember? And she was kind of able to.
It gave her those voices, yeah. We didn't understand what that was, right? But in the books later, they explain that boom, 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 she has this ability. And it's like, why? If you do something in a movie, we should understand it. If you do something in a book, we should understand it. You have, like, it is your job as the director or whatever to make sure that the audience understands these things. All of this stuff is crazy. Those were very problematic movies. When one director does the first and the third, and another director does the second. And it was supposed to be a different director doing the second or doing the third, but and the first director was supposed to do the second anyway. The whole thing was just all over the place. But I will say this. I feel like it is some of the greatest writing in the history of creation that a Palpatine, namely like Emperor Palpatine, the greatest evil that the Skywalkers have ever seen, turned Anakin Skywalker evil and tried to turn Luke Skywalker and cause the death of his father and stuff like that, that a Palpatine, namely Rey, kills the final Skywalker, that's Kylo, and then takes his identity and says, "My name is Rey Skywalker." So I don't know if they recognize that or not, but that's just like that. If Rey were to become evil, truly evil, that is the perfect Palpatine story.
Was she? I don't remember. Was she tempted?
Oh, big time, big time. Only evil Force users like Sith style or just dark side users are able to use Force lightning. Remember when she was trying to pull, and then all of a sudden the opposite of that would have been a Force push, but instead she did Force lightning instead, and it's like, dude, are you kidding me? So it was weird. Like
Yoda was not able to do the lightning.
See, the idea is that Yoda could. And all of these characters who are very, very, very powerful could, but it's a dark side trait, you know? So Yoda, what he did was he was able to absorb when Count Dooku in the second prequel, Attack of the Clones, was shooting Force lightning at him. He was redirecting it, and then he wound up absorbing. He didn't redirect it. He just absorbed it every time. And then at one point, he actually redirects it back at him, and he's like, "Okay, I'm not going to do that anymore." So they fought with the lightsabers, and then you see Kermit the Frog flipping around with his miniature lightsaber dagger. Yeah, it sure was a fun scene. Anyway, look, here's Luke with Yoda. Yeah, it's from the original 3 movies. That was the second of the original movies, and the greatest of all of them. Fight me, anybody who disagrees. Anyway, so they're actually going to be doing more of this. You know, we just got rid of our PS4, traded in for the Switch instead. We're going to miss out on next month. The Miles Morales Spider-Man video game is coming out for the PS4 and the brand new PS5. That's actually supposed to be, I don't know, soon, sometime next month. Anyway, before that comes out on November 10th, there's going to be a prequel novel.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying that's kind of exciting.
A prequel novel to what?
To the video game. So you can actually learn the video game version's history of Miles Morales in a book before you actually play the video game, which apparently will not go deep into his origin story, which is actually fine because it's supposed to focus on the Vulture and Starling. So I actually happen to have a version of the Vulture here. You remember Vulture from the first Spider-Man movie, Homecoming? Yep. So it's going to focus on him and his granddaughter named Starling, who also has a suit.
No, sorry, I'm still stuck on a book. It's a prequel to a video game.
Yes.
It's kind of like, I don't know, a lot of teachers. You know how teachers are like anti-video games?
Yes.
It's like, oh, the prequel to this game was a book. So that's
yeah, all of a sudden they're happy about it, right?
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. I don't know. For me, I like the idea of it. Love the idea of it. Plus, even some video games like Minecraft, I think are fantastic video games, you know? They teach a lot. Not just that, but coding. No, don't play with this, please. Don't play with the phone. So anyway, yeah, those things are going to happen. And this is going to be written by Brittany Morris. Brittany Morris, I think it's pronounced. Anyway, she did a book called Slay. You can actually see her here. Brittany, Morse. So she's holds a BA in economics from Boston University. She spends her spare time reading, playing indie video games, and enjoying the Seattle rain from the comfort of her apartment. Right? So she's going to be doing this story. So that's actually cool. I'm digging on that. I reported with my previous host, Chillmonger, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. There's going to be an auction for all of their stuff. Remember the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show? Yeah, that went several seasons, I think 7 seasons, technically 6, but whatever. It's officially 7 seasons. And all of their stuff, they're doing an auction. It just started October 8th, and it's going to be finishing on November 10th. So if you go to www.propstore.com/Marvel, you will be able to bid on Mac's shotgun axe, the Ghost Rider costume, and the Mockingbird's costume along with her batons. You know Mockingbird, right?
Oh, I didn't know she was in the show, though.
No, yeah, she was actually in the show for a couple, I think season 4. No, season 3.
Like, some parts of the first season.
Yeah, I know you didn't watch a whole lot. I was much more into the show than you were. But I watched the entire first 5 seasons, just the 6th and 7th season. I just didn't get around to watching. Just too much on my plate. You know. So, anyway, you can go and bid on a bunch of cool stuff like that. I'm telling you, if I can find something that's super cheap, I wouldn't mind having some kind of a memorabilia from there, because some of the stuff is cool. And some of the stuff is so small and so innocuous, and they've got a lot of them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure there'll be some small things on there. Just some memorabilia of probably the best Marvel TV show that had ever come out up to this point. We'll see.
I like Agent Carter, even though I didn't watch it.
You watched it. You just didn't get devoted to it. Yeah, that was a problem. Well, it's on Disney Plus.
I like Agent Carter.
You like the concept more than actually following and engaging.
To be honest, I really like Agent Carter. The story was slow.
It's a TV show. Somehow you love Star Trek, so it is what it is. Hey, talking of Star Trek. This makes you super happy now. So I was trying to hold this back from you, but you wound up finding out yesterday that 2 days ago from our time, not when these guys are listening, Star Trek Prodigy is going to be a new animated, CG animated TV series. So computer graphics animated.
Oh, so it's not live action.
No, it's not live action at all. I think it's going to be somewhat similar to the Sony, Into the Spider-Verse, because that was computer graphics animated. So I don't know if it's going to look exactly like that style, but the idea that it's not going to be hand drawn or anything like that. It's going to be CG entirely.
All of a sudden, I don't know how I feel about it, but okay.
Well, it isn't a show necessarily for adults, but it's going to be on Nickelodeon.
You know what? The kids keep asking me, why do you like it?
Yes. And how's this going to have something to do with Voyager?
My girl's in it.
Yep.
Janeway.
Kate Mulgrew is going to be in it, who also played Red on Orange is the New Black and a bunch of other shows. But yeah, Kate Mulgrew, who played Catherine Janeway, is going to reprise her role. Hopefully she'll be an admiral by now instead of just a regular old captain. I mean, come on, right? Anyway, she's going to be reprising her role. It's going to be developed by Kevin and Dan Hageman. They did the Troll Hunters and Ninjago. It might be pronounced Ninjago TV series. They're both animated shows, for kids. It's basically going to involve a group of lawless teens who discover a derelict Starfleet ship and use it to search for adventure, meaning, and salvation.
Oh.
I know, right?
Oh, the kids really get.
Yeah, they're going to freaking fall apart for this. They're going to be able to watch it in 2021.
So
Relax. But how can you get delays for this? For the most part, it's all voice acting and a bunch of people drawing stuff.
Yeah, but they need to be in physical spaces, right? And that's a hard thing right now.
Not the hardest, but yeah, it's a lot easier than going to the 14th district of New York City and Queens and freaking Spider-Man. I mean, come on. So anyway, you know what? I figured let's take a couple of minutes. Let me show you. These are the top 20 selling comic books of September. starting from the top. What do you notice about the first 5? We've got Batman the Three Jokers, issue number 2, Batman number 98, which features Joker War, Detective Comics number 1027, Batman number 99, and Batman Three Jokers, issue number 1. Those were
A lot of Batman.
They're all Batman. Detective Comics is also Batman. In fact, that's actually an anniversary issue because Batman's first appearance was in Detective Comics issue number 27. So issue number 1027, yeah.
So what about Batman that makes it like top 5 of this?
Well, the best sales. More people are buying the DC comics over the Marvel comics, but only in regards to Batman. In fact, let's look at some of the other ones on here. The 6th one is 10 of Swords, X of Swords, but it's actually spoken 10 of Swords Creation. So that's part 1 of 22. So that's the number 6 comic book. The number 7 comic book is X-Men number 12. The number, what am I on? 8. Number 8 is Thor number 7. That's why I got a little freaked by that.
Yeah.
Number 9 is Iron Man number 1. So 4 Marvel comics in a row. And then we go to Dark Knight's Death Metal Trinity Crisis, which is a one-shot. And then we go to Wolverine number 5. And then we move on to Dark Knight's Metal, Death Metal Speed Metal, which is a one-shot.
Batman as well?
Yes, those are Batman books. So it actually involves a whole bunch of characters, but Dark Knights, the death metal thing, it's about a choice that Batman made that was actually a bad choice, like one of the only bad choices he's ever made, and the whole multiverse gets screwed up, and now the Batman who laughs, that guy up top there, that's actually a wicked version of Bruce Wayne. Well, they already know what he looks like, but I'll show you. This is Batman and the Joker merging, kind of. So, yeah, it's actually more detailed than that. You don't need to know anymore. There's going to be some people yelling at me, it's not them merging! Quiet down, my peeps, all right? I'm explaining this to a dilettante here. So anyway.
What was that just called?
A dilettante.
Okay.
So there's like dilettante and journeyman and, I forget, like in the union, like the workers' labor unions, a dilettante means you don't know anything about this thing and you're being brought in and you're learning some stuff. You're an absolute effing noob. Yeah. Yeah, you're welcome. So anyway, yeah, it's basically evil Batman versus regular Batman. And Dark Knights is basically just how many different versions of Batman can we have, including Speed Metal, which is what if Bruce Wayne became the Flash instead of Batman?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So, and Trinity Crisis features the Trinity, which the Trinity of Marvel Comics or of DC Comics is Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman. So again, a Batman book. Then we only find them when they're dead. That's issue number 1, and I believe that's the 13th book on here, and that is the only indie comic book that is on here. Also, an indie comic is anything that's not Marvel or not DC. So, boom. Of course, it's by James Tynion IV, who's also writing the Batman books. So that says something, but still, it's the only indie comic book on there, but there's actually an indie comic book on the top 20. After that, Giant Size X-Men Storm. Don't get excited. I think it sucked. But anyway, Venom, issue number 28. Justice League number 53, which is a Dark Knight's Metal tie-in. So Batman. Deceased, Dead Planet. This is the only issue number 3 of 7. This technically doesn't have everything to do with Batman. Batman is actually dead and his son takes over the role of Batman. And it's actually the universe has turned into basically zombies. It's basically zombies versus the DC universe. Okay. And, but Batman's in it. Anyway, it's written by Tom Taylor, who's an absolutely freaking out of this world amazing writer. And, yeah, so this is the only DC comic on there that's not entirely about Batman. All the other ones pretty much or absolutely entirely about Batman. Go figure. As for everything else, we got Immortal Hulk number 37. Surprised that always comes so low on the list since it's such amazing writing and art. Anyway, Web of Venom Wraith, issue number 1, and Empire, part 6 of 6. So you'll see the Marvel comics. You got Wolverine, other X-Men characters, Thor, Iron Man, Venom, Hulk. whole bunch of different characters, and Empire, which is just an event featuring pretty much everybody. Whole big mix of characters there. And meanwhile, DC Comics has, no Superman on that list, no Wonder Woman on that list, no Shazam on that list, no Aquaman on that list.
But they're writing those stories, it's just people are not buying them, right?
Yeah. So what does that say about the company?
They got one product.
Literally, you've got one product that is actually worth its weight. Now, what do you think they could do to fix that?
Products. But then again,
Bang.
It seems like they're leaning into their one product. And they're like, you know what? Forget about everything else.
There's this character called Shazam. You know Shazam. Yeah, got him right up there. Shazam didn't belong to DC Comics. They belonged to a group called Fawcett Comics. And they had a whole comics line. Unfortunately, the only character that really sold was at the time he was called Captain Marvel. He said Shazam and whatever. But anyway, Marvel wound up getting that name licensed legally, getting that name. As far as DC is concerned, very similar to the Captain Marvel product, Captain Marvel was selling better than Superman, which really pissed off DC Comics in the worst way, which is why they kept on making failed and obviously frivolous lawsuits against Fawcett Comics. What do you call it? So right now, they've literally got one character that outsells everybody else by such a huge gross margin, and they're really not trying very hard to get their other products, including Superman, the first superhero, to be better. Like, it's frustrating to me. When you think of a superhero, the seminal superhero is Superman. And yet, it's just so, it's absurd. It's absurd. And they're literally falling down the exact same path that Fawcett Comics took. So if Marvel were to decide to start suing, making frivolous lawsuits to them, you know what I'm saying, causing them to spend a lot of money, it's basically Batman money that they're using. And what could eventually happen? It's not quite the same because now they're owned by Warner Brothers, who's owned by AT&T, but AT&T's been cutting a lot of their movies. It's been just shopping block a lot of their stuff, defunding a lot of what DC Comics has been doing. Yeah, it's turning into a big cluster as of late, which shows that they're not willing to do too much to back up the product. You never know what can happen.
You know if they have any other strategies in mind?
No, we'll never know. Plus, the guy who's in charge, Jim Lee, he's just a really, really, really good artist who doesn't know anything about business. There are going to be some people who are going to argue he was one of the 10 people who created Image Comics, but they should also look into the history of Image Comics and how it was actually created. And Jim Lee just kind of went along because it was like, yeah, sure, it seems like a cool thing to do, and didn't really have anything to do with anything. But anyway, and it was only because he did his own product that wasn't particularly successful, wasn't as successful as Todd McFarlane stuff or some of the other people's stuff out there, but DC really wanted Jim Lee in the worst way, so they bought his Wildstorm comics and then brought stuff over, and yeah, it's a shame. But anyway, it is what it is. So he's like in charge of things at DC and not doing a great job of it. That's why he's pushing Batman and nobody else, because he loves Batman. Even my Hawkman. I'm very disappointed in that. Yeah. Anyway. So that's probably about it. Oh, I actually should go back to hi. So yeah, that's about it. What is that? 59 minutes or so? I think that's a pretty good podcast. What do you think?
Yeah, this was fun.
Are you just saying that?
No, seriously, this was fun.
Are you going to tell me something different after I push end?
No. This was fun. This was interesting.
Awesome. All right.
Seemed like I'm not a Batman fan.
Which is fine. I'm a Batman fan. I'm a huge Batman fan. I just wish that I'm just a fan of other things too, other properties that I really wish that they would push also. But it is what it is. Anyway, here, you can be the Batman who laughs.
I would like to know more about him because he seems to be more interested in the other Batman. And if you're going to hate me,
No, that's fine. It's new. It's something totally new. It's perfectly fine.
Oh, yeah, let's see. Anyways.
All right. So that is going to be the podcast, my peeps. Make sure that you follow. Actually, hit the follow button. It's all free. It's all free. And consider leaving a review, especially on iTunes. If you listen to Apple iTunes, listen to us there. Leave us a 5-star review there. I'm saying, I'll mention you. Definitely mention you. Call you out. What's up, bro? And we'll talk to you guys later. Professor Bill and Laird. Laird Warda. That's right. Comic book. We're trying. We're trying. Well, actually, I guess we have to learn how to do it with a heavy Scottish accent. I think all I got to do is say, you run along home now, young William, or you feel the back of my hand. It's from Braveheart.
Okay.
All right. Professor Bill N. Ward, at Comic Book University. Class dismissed.